not to spoil anything, but I'm going to spoil it anyway. This is a crossover from the last list.
Wait. It's not that. It's not that. Hey, folks. Welcome to the Flipside. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
And this is our top 5 deduction games. Games in which you must use your noodle to deduce things in order to win.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty much what a deduction game is. And there are a lot of deduction games out there, apparently.
That I've never played. There's a lot about them.
I think the Geek had something like 22 pages.
Yeah.
100 titles each page, so we're looking at 2,200 games that are in the Geek's database.
Yep.
Could be more than that, frankly.
Some of those very well, highly rated and stuff like that, but I haven't played.
Yep.
So.
My average weight for this half of my top 10 was a 2.08, so it's slightly higher than my bottom 5.
Mine's a 2.06.
What in the world?
We've been within like 100th or 200th so far.
That is funny.
Yeah.
My average for the entire list was a 1.99, so basically a 2 across the board. My lowest was a 1.24. That was on the last list on the bottom 5, and then my highest, which was not on my bottom 5, was a 3.28.
My overall was 1.98, 100th off of his.
Jeez.
My lowest was a 1.14, which was on last list. And the highest is a 3.01, which is on this list.
Yep. Well, that makes sense. We're going to get to it. Here it comes, our top 5 deduction games. Let's get it. All right, my number 5 is a trick-taking game, which you could basically say all trick-taking games are deductive.
Yeah.
And this is the only trick-taking game that I put on my list. But I did it because I think it is a little bit more, there's a little bit more deduction that has to go on. It's not just what cards do you have in your hands, but what are the range of cards that you have in your hand and how many, because I might have a lot of cards in my hand and I can see how many of that range that you have in your hand, and I can kind of deduce what you have, but this person over here has some as well. This one's called Xylotar. This is called Xylotar, and I found out...
This is on my short list.
We'll get back to this in a minute. They're coming out with an expansion this year. Did you know that?
For Xylotar?
Yeah.
What are they going to put in there?
2 modular expansions that change up how you play the game. Half notes instead of just full notes.
What?
Yeah.
That's horrible.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we can get a copy pretty quick. But Xylotar is a really fun trick-taking game where you basically have to place your entire hand from lowest to highest in front of you. You can never lead with your highest card. But you can play your highest card at any point in time if you think, and you're basically just trying to get the most tricks, but you're not necessarily trying to get the most, you're trying to get your bid of tricks. And how you bid in this game is also different from most trick-taking games. You, in between your turn and the next person's turn, you can say, I'm going to bid, and you have to choose 2 cards that are still in your hand, and you can look at them, and you must choose one of those 2 numbers as how many bids you're going to win in that hand. And if you do that correctly, you get an additional 5 points. And of course, you're just trying to have the most points at the end of, I believe it's 3 hands. I think that's right.
I think so.
Three.
All right, you've convinced me. This one should have been on my list. This one, it was on my short list, and it should have been on my list. The coolest thing about this, which he failed to fully mention, was that your hand is lowest to highest, but you don't know what numbers they are. Somebody else arranges those for you.
You're right.
Before you place them down. So your deduction
is
not
pretty
only
important delineation.
Your deduction is not only what does everybody else have.
It's what you have.
I don't even know what my numbers are. I know
Yep.
what the ranges of those cards are. I know what the ranges of everybody's cards are. But I don't know what my numbers are. So.
Yeah, that's true. I totally left that out.
Significance there.
The range of what you have and the number of cards that you have also has a range of numbers within that part.
Yep.
So this color has this range, and then this color has that range. So yes, absolutely, huge brain fart on my opinion, on my part, but that just adds to why this should be on this list.
Yeah, it definitely should.
There's
be
a lot
on this
more
list.
deduction than
Yes.
just a regular trick-taking game is going on. But anyway, that's my number 5. Xylotar, really looking forward to the expansion this year too.
I should have looked at. I had it in my short list. I really should have put it in here.
Yeah.
It should have ended up probably my number 5. Number 5, number 6. Anyways, it should have been there.
Yeah.
100%. All right, good pick. All right, my number 5. Not to spoil anything, but I'm going to spoil it anyway. This is a crossover from last list.
Wait. It's not that. I'm going to say Bomb Busters.
Nope.
Dang it! Feed the Kraken.
From Fun Tales, Feed the Kraken.
Yep.
Feed the Kraken is a great deductive game where you're sitting around a table with however many people. Some of you are pirates, one of you is a cultist for sure, and some of you are sailors. The sailors are simply trying to steer the ship to one island. The pirates are simply trying to steer the ship and steal all the gold to the pirate island. And the cultist, all he or she cares about is getting eaten by the Kraken by themselves. They don't care what the rest of you do. I just want to jump in and get eaten by the Kraken.
This is definitely Lovecraftian.
Whatever. But anyways, the way you do that, and we talked about this in the last list, is one of you gets picked to be the captain. And that happens, you all get a position at the beginning of the game. You get a card. Whoever gets the captain card has to start the game.
Yeah.
But the captain gets to pick a navigator and a lieutenant, or a first lieutenant, or whatever it's called. And then you have to draw these cards. Captain places one card in there, which will either send you left or right or forward with your ship. And then the navigator gets to pick 2 cards and put 1 card in there. The lieutenant does, and then the navigator picks which one of those cards they want to keep, discards one, and puts the other one back, and then gives it to the captain. Those cards literally either say you're going to steer the ship to the right, you're going to take the ship forward, or you're going to take the ship to the left towards the pirate island. The captain has to flip that over, but every one of those cards also has symbols on them. So if there's ever like the rum bottles on the corner, that means the captain gets drunk and the next person becomes the captain, and this person now gets to pick.
Yep.
So not only are you picking a direction when you're the navigator, but you're also picking whether or not you want to keep the captain or what special ability you want to see shown. So, and if this person that I chose to be the navigator decides to rat me out or kick me out or whatever else, then it could be just bad luck that they got 2 cards that they have to,
right?
Or they could be against me or whatever else. So you're really trying to play this out. It's a very fast deduction game, social deduction game, which is nice too. More in the theme of about 40 minutes to an hour probably, which is a nice, quick-paced, enjoyable, just a great game.
Yep, I absolutely agree with it. Such
like
a fun time.
We played it on the cruise a month or so ago. Somebody taught it to me, which was great, and then I taught it to everybody else.
Yep.
And then I bought it, and it's sitting on my shelf at home. So.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, my number 4 is a game that I have talked about a lot. This is the only game on my list that has Vincent Dutrait's artwork, and this list is invalid. No, it's not. I included one.
Oh,
it's always valid when I have a Vincent Dutrait artwork game on here. This one's called Rising 5: The Ruins of Asteros. This is where you're basically trying to deduce a chain of a code that you're trying to feed into this alien life form's defense mechanism for the planet. Basically, the lore of the game is that the planet's moon is about to crash into the surface, and you're trying to avert that catastrophe by punching in the right code before that happens. And basically, you just have a certain number of rounds before the moon hits, and you have to try to win the game before that. But you can basically go get clues and different things that you will be able to use to get more clues by going out and performing different kinds of tasks at these different places. It might be excavating some weird site and trying to pull some type of artifact. It might be going over here to battle this monster that's going to give you a reward that you'll be able to use that cube to make another guess at what the code is. And it comes with an app. Well, it doesn't come with it. You have to download the app. But the app works really well. It has some pretty cool music in the background, but it also keeps track of the guesses that you've made over the course of the game. Something you could definitely do without the app, but the app is cool. But I really enjoy this game. It has really cool deductive logic in it. It has... it's also on the shorter side of things as well. You're talking probably 30, 45 minutes. And the artwork is great. I have the deluxe version. We have, everybody has miniatures for their people. It just looks really good. I really enjoy it.
He doesn't have the deluxe version right now because it's at my house and I'm trying to get it played. So.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Still mine.
I borrowed his version,
yes,
or his copy, and I haven't played it yet.
Yep, but that is from Mondu Games, Rising 5. No, Gary Kim Games, not Mondu. I think this is before Mondu. Gary Kim Games. Anyway, a Korean company. Very cool game though. Rising 5, Rooms of Astros.
Nice. Haven't played it yet. Will sooner than later. All right, my number 4. There's a couple earlier in my list that kind of follow this same kind of pattern. This is kind of that Dixit style game.
Sure.
And this is called Detectives Club.
Oh yeah.
From iGames and who's that? Alexander Novinsky. Detective Club is a fantastic game. The twist on Detective Club is the person who's making the guesses, or that's giving, that's running the round. I guess I can't remember what they're called, but they're going to write a word on all of these notebooks except for one. And everybody's going to randomly get one of these notebooks. So one person doesn't know what the word is. And then starting with them, they're going to play one card. So if I wrote the word, I'm going to play a card that makes you think of that word. And everybody's going to play a card all the way around. And then I get to play a second card, and then everybody's going to play a second card all the way around. And then I'm going to give the word, and everybody around the table gets to say why they played their card and how it matches the word. Why they played the specific cards that they did and how it matches the word. And the goal of the game is for you as the clue giver to make sure that the person that doesn't have the word can blend in.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the crazy thing, because typically if you're that kind of person, you're trying to get them kind of sought out. But in this one, you're not. You want them to blend in. Everybody gets a turn to go around, and then everybody gets to vote, and they get to put their little tokens on there to vote. Now, if the person that didn't have the word has no votes or only one vote, then they get like 5 points, and you get like 4 points being the clue giver. But if there's 2 or more votes on there, then you get 0 and they get 0. And anybody that votes correctly gets 3 points. So you are trying to help them blend in without knowing who they are. You're just trying to make sure that, and then letting them all vote it out. It's quite fun. It's really fun, even for a person that can't bluff. If I put down a blue card and this person puts down a blue card with a snake on it, it's pretty much, you can kind of follow along or follow in the kind of patterns of what everybody else is doing. So, and the fact that everybody gets to play 2 cards really helps kind of blend that in. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
cool.
That's my number 4, Detective Club.
It's a good one.
That is my favorite, probably social deduction Dixit style game.
Cool. My number 3 clocks in at a 1.89 for complexity out of 5, and this is a crossover from JT's other side. His bottom half Want to take a guess?
Oh, yeah. Obscurio.
Obscurio!
Give me the number. Like, there's not that many different
Obscurio!
numbers.
Yeah, that's true. I really enjoy this game. And this is one of those games, and most deduction games that are social deduction, I like to be the clue giver.
Sure.
That's how I really enjoy playing the game, but I also enjoy playing those games outside of being the clue giver, but that's where it really kind of, that's where I really enjoy it.
Most people would prefer to be the clue giver.
Sure, maybe so.
So you just steal it from them.
That's true. I do. It's my game.
It's rude.
It's my sandbox.
It's rotten.
It's just the way it is. But anyway, this one is just really, I love, Mysterium came out first, and Mysterium really kind of rose to the top of everybody's social deduction lists really quick. I never really understood why. Obscurio came out and was like, great, never have to play Mysterium again. Because it does almost the exact same thing with, in my opinion, a better theme, a cooler theme, if I can put it that way. And it did it in a little bit of a better way. With Mysterium, I just thought it was more like a crapshoot more than anything else, because the person's giving out these pictures, but they're not giving out any type of clues with those pictures.
Yeah, it's very broad.
With
very
Obscurio, you have the opportunity to point at certain specific things. You can't talk beyond those things, so you can't make it easy for them. But I really enjoyed that. Now, the other thing that a lot of people maybe don't like about Obscurio as compared to Mysterium, but I really enjoy it, is the traitor aspect that Obscurio
gotta have the traitor aspect in Obscurio.
That Mysterium doesn't have.
Yeah.
So there's, to each their own. Different strokes for different folks, whatever you want to say. I really enjoy Obscurio the best. And that's why it's on my list, and Mysterium is not. Now, I did write Mysterium down in my short list.
Yeah, I
because
saw
it is a
Mysterium.
good deduction game, but I like Obscurio better.
Yeah,
So,
I think Obscurio was on my list too. The one downfall of Obscurio, the one thing that I wish was a cleaner way to do it, is when you turn around the portfolio for the guy whoever the conspirator is to pick the cards. Everybody else has got their eyes closed. You just gotta. It's so hard to be careful not to get not to move or do whatever else. That's a hard mechanism.
Yeah, usually
what I mean?
I've been, depends on the size of the table, but I usually try to put myself, if I'm the clue giver, on one end of the table.
Sure.
And then the other person, I don't move. I don't actually give it to them. They just have to look at it from a distance.
Yeah, they just have to look at it from a distance. But depending on where they're out on the table and
it could be hard.
Elbows are on the table and things like that. Like, oh, I felt your elbow move. You know.
But everybody lean back or something.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do a few things like that. Obscurio's a great game, though.
Yep, that's cool.
All right. More than 3?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Yes. All right, my number 3. Unfortunately, it was on last week's list as well, but it belongs on this list for sure. I try not to double them up, and that's Decorum. Yeah, from Floodgate Games.
I knew it was there.
Decorum is obviously very much a deduction game where you have a house full of different objects in it, lamps and curios and paintings, and they're different colors, and they also have different symbols on them, whether they're antique or classic or whatever else.
Yep.
And you have some things that you have to make the house look like, and the other people or person have rules that they have to make the house follow. And really, you're going back and forth in this passive-aggressive nature, trying to deduce what the other person needs to happen. It's like if I put a red lamp in this bedroom, and the other person's like, I hate that. I don't know if they hate it because it's red. I don't know if they hate it because it's an antique. I don't know if they hate it because it can't be in a room with a blue picture. Right. Like, you have to deduce all of those kind of things through trial and error until you both have the house the way that you want it decorated. So it's super fun. We had this conversation last week, but it's great at 2. It's fantastic at 2, and really it's built for 2 players. But you can also play it with 3 or 4, and I've had a lot of luck and a lot of fun doing that as well. So,
Cool.
But that is my number 3, Decorum. Who knew I was an interior designer?
Nobody.
And I like red walls in all my rooms.
Red rum. All right, my number 2 is a 3.28. It is the heaviest game of the list, and it is probably the heaviest I want to play a deduction game as well. But the reason that this really kind of sings for me as a deduction game is the theme. That is the Fury of Dracula.
That's what I thought it was going to be. Okay.
The Fury of Dracula. I really enjoy the theme of this game because it is a one versus all. One person takes on the role of Dracula, trying to accomplish his nefarious deeds, but at the same time, he is trying to stay away from the other players of the game who are hunting him. Each hunter has their own special ability, their own things that they can do. Anyway, Dracula is just simply trying to survive. He's trying to stay hidden. But every once in a while, he will show himself. He'll pop up and do this, and then he'll go missing again. And you'll have to try to pick up his trail by traveling around to these different things. And it's all deductive logic on what has happened, where he has been, and so forth and so on. And sometimes those clues, if you don't catch them fast enough, they're going to fall off the track. And so those clues won't ever be gotten again.
Yeah.
He can leave his minions behind to attack you when you run into certain places. And it's just a really rich theme for a deduction game to play around in. And that's why it's my number 2. I've really enjoyed this game. The reason it's not my number 1 is because I cannot get it to the table very often because it does have a considerable length. We're talking 3 to 4 hours, generally speaking, especially with the most, the highest number of players.
Yep.
I really enjoy the game though. It's very good and it's a classic. So if you have the opportunity to pick it up and you like those longer deduction games, this is your Huckleberry Fury of Dracula, 3rd or 4th edition.
Nice. All right. Well, my number 2 is another crossover from this list.
Oh, it's got to be Bomb Busters.
Yep.
Yeah.
From Hisashi Hayashi and Cocktail Games.
Yep.
Bomb Busters. Bomb Busters, you are simply trying to defuse a bomb before you blow up.
It's easy. Simple.
Everybody has these wires. There's 4 wires of every number. The numbers go from 1 to 12. And they're littered out amongst the group. You know what your wires are, obviously, and they're sorted from lowest to highest. But everybody else knows what theirs are, and they're sorted the same way, but all you get to see is the black back of the tile, so you don't know exactly what they've got. But on every turn, you either have to cut one of your wires with somebody else's wire, or you have to cut, if you have all the rest of one number, you have to cut all of those, or you can cut all of those numbers and lay them down. And you're just trying to cut all of the wires before the bomb blows up. But every time somebody tries to cut something and it's the wrong number, the timer goes down. And the timer's only based on how many players you are. So if you're 3 players, you have 3 wrong answers and you're dead. Not on the 4th, on the 3rd. So it's very quick, but it has 66 different levels, so it starts out fairly easy. Then it starts adding in yellow wires and red wires, and a red wire gets cut, you immediately blow up. And then it starts adding in more and more.
You don't literally blow up, you just lose the game.
No, you blow up.
Figuratively, you blow up.
That box starts ticking, you start running. If the box starts ticking, you start running, that's all I'm saying. But other than that, it starts adding in more and more different kinds of mechanics, different things you have to do. There's ones in there where you have to, you're going to flip a number out, and then every one of that number is going to be a red wire. So every 7's a red wire. If any of them get cut, you lose. Like, there's all kinds of just continuations of rules and mechanics to try to make these bombs harder to defuse. So
I saw a T-shirt once. I think it said something like, "I'm a bomb tech. If you see me running, try to keep up."
There you go. Yeah, but that's my number 2. Bomb Busters is a great game.
It's good.
It's one of my favorite games of this last year for sure.
Well done.
Great game.
Finally, my number 1 is a crossover.
With my number 1?
No, it's not with your number 1, but you already said it.
Well, it ain't Decorum.
No, it ain't Decorum, that's for sure. Although, I've only played Decorum as a 4-player game.
Yeah.
He says it's better as 2, so I want to try it with 2. It might have made the list had I played it with 2.
It's quite fun. All right. Well, your number 1 is obviously what I figured your number 1 was going to be from the beginning, and that is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Deception, Murder in Hong Kong is absolutely correct. Now, there are so many different cards that go into this game. I don't think you will ever have the same combinations.
No.
Like, ever. I've got the base game, the expansion, and a whole mess of promo packs in it as well. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm ever going to see the same combination of murder weapon to clue left behind at the scene ever. And that's a really cool thing to me. Now, even just within the base game,
sure, there's tons of variability.
You're not going to run into the same combination. But the cool thing that I like about this, and we already talked about it on the bottom 5 because it was on JT's list there, but the cool thing about this is how much interaction. I like the fact that you have a murderer and an accomplice, and then the rest of the people are investigators, and then one person is the forensic scientist. So you have different roles. This is one of the social deduction games where you need to play it with as many people as possible.
That's true,
because
maybe. That's pretty psychotic.
That's when you really can use
and you can get a witness, too.
Yeah, you get more roles, you get more abilities within those roles, and it just makes the game so much better. Playing it with its minimum count, which I think is 4, is kind of a waste of time.
I don't
you really need to
would
wait
under
until you
6.
have about 8 people. 6 to 8 is probably
minimum,
the best.
Probably.
Yeah, and I really think that this is one of the games. It's also a pretty cool gateway game as well. Mm-hmm. Gateway type situations because there aren't a whole lot of mechanisms. The only person that really has a lot of procedure is the person giving the clues. And usually the person who has the most experience with the game will take that role.
And I'm kind of funny because I like giving people that don't have experience with the game that role.
Really?
Yeah, because they have a ton of fun trying to figure out their clues.
Understood.
Well, you got to make sure in this game, especially if you play it multiple times, that you're moving those roles around, that somebody else gets to do that. It's very important because it makes everybody else. Somebody's going to be like, well, I've been the investigator the whole time for the past 4 rounds. You want to really mix it up and let other people do it.
I'll absolutely agree with because that's what I've done in the past. The first time we've played it, it is one of those games where like, hey, let's play that again. That will happen.
Yep.
But the first time we play it that night, I will be the clue giver. I'll set out how the game is supposed to run. And then
100%.
more often than not, somebody will say, I want to be the clue giver now.
Yep.
And you say, okay, go for it.
Yeah, I think.
Really enjoy this game. So fun. My favorite deduction game of all, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Yep. He was killed with the minigun. By the bookshelf.
By the bookshelf.
I don't know why. Okay. All right. On a Wednesday. Some of those clue cards are just like, why do you care if it's a Tuesday?
Exactly.
Why did you give me that clue? What happens on Tuesday? Is it garbage day? Like, I don't know. Like, there's something inside going on with this Tuesday, and I don't like it. So, anyways.
That's funny.
All right. My number 1 game, not on his list, and I figured that's because he forgot about it. No, I know why. Because the deduction in this one is a little bit different as far as like the deduction in the games that we've been talking about so far. My number 1 is Dead of Winter. In Dead of Winter, really you're trying to deduce who the traitor is in this. And in Dead of Winter, you have a colony in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. You have the characters you have and everybody else has, plus you have a bunch of worthless slobs that you're trying to feed and take care of.
They're people that you're trying to protect.
Yes, you have a bunch of worthless people that you're trying to protect and keep alive, because if they die, you lose morale too, which I don't understand how that works.
Have you not watched any zombie apocalypse games?
But anyways, you're trying to
Movies?
protect your compound. You're trying to go to the grocery store and the police, station or the library. You're trying to collect the materials that you need, food and gas and guns and whatever else. And the problem is every single one of you around the table is pretty selfish. You all have a personal objective card. And it doesn't mean your personal objective card doesn't mean kill everybody else. It means, hey, man, I'm scared of starving to death. I need to hoard a little bit of food for myself. Yep. And so everybody's trying to, every single round, there's an event card, not an event card. There is a crisis card every single round that says at the end of this round, we have to provide 3 food and 3 fuel because it's really cold out there. And we need to feed the colony. And then at the end of the round, everybody gets to give a card in to help with that 3 food and 3 gas. The problem is I really want food, and I only have 1 food in my hand, and I don't have any gas to help. So you know what? You're going to get a book from me, or you're going to get something else from me. And so everybody's putting into this, but one of you, or very likely one of you, is a traitor that's really trying to make things bad. Yep. And you're trying to figure out who that person is and kick them out of the colony. And the worst part about it is if somebody gets kicked out of the colony, obviously they don't get to live in the colony anymore. They have to go move to the grocery store. But they get a whole new goal at that point in time. Yep. And now it's almost you against them. You're trying to survive and still do your tasks while they're being a pain in the butt. So this is a great game.
I absolutely agree. I just don't view it as a deduction game.
I know it was on the list. The only reason I had to put it in there. I know why it wasn't on your list. Because it's kind of a shoe-in. But that's okay. I like the game that much.
Sure.
But I put it in there as my number 1.
It's a great game. It's a great game, and if you have a trader,
you don't think of it as a deduction game.
If you have a trader, it's definitely deductive. Yeah, definitely deductive. But I think the way the rule book says is that you're not guaranteed to have a trader.
And you're not.
It's kind of like Battlestar Galactica.
Because it gets rolled in there. Yeah. The problem is you don't have a trader, and we kick Sam out because we're pretty sure that he's not giving us enough gas. Right. And now he becomes a traitor because now he's mad that we kicked him out and he's living at the police station. Yeah. So, screw you guys. Even up until the point when you find out that there were no traitors, everybody's being selfish for some reason or another. Yeah, so that's
because
the
of
fun
their own
part.
personal thing. Yep, I agree. It's a great game. It's no big deal. I just didn't. I didn't call it a deduction game. That's
I agree with you. It was on the list, so I picked it.
Cool beans. All right, well, that is that. Our top 5 deduction games. Some really great titles on this list and also more great titles on our bottom 5. So go check that out over the Dice Tower if you have not yet already. But while you're here, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you can be notified when we have more videos coming out. Also, let us know in the comments what you thought, what we missed. Because I guarantee you,
we missed a lot.
Somebody's going to say, Blood on the Clock Tower should be the highest one in this. Well,
or Search for Planet X, or Search for the Lost Species. I haven't played either one of those. I have Search for Planet X on my shelf. I've had it there for 8 months, and I haven't played it yet. Guaranteed it would be in this list, I'm pretty sure. Turing Machine. There's dozens of games that everybody's going to be like, this one. Unfortunately, I haven't
just let us know. Yep. I didn't include Blood on the Clock Tower. I have played it. I've played it 3 times, and I didn't include it on purpose. So there you have it. Cheers! We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
We'll see you later.